Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the Link Building Show. Today I'm here with Eleanor and we're going to talk a bit about writing about different topics. When writing your articles, do you follow any particular method?
So we get given a question that we need to answer in our article, which is about 2,000 words. So for me personally, I find it easier to kind of think of the various subject areas within that one question I want to cover. So for example, if it was, what's the best type of car insurance for my car, I might start thinking about, is it a legal requirement to have car insurance, and what are the different types of car insurance you can have, and kind of break it down in smaller chunks. So I need to write about 200 words for each of those kind of smaller questions.
Sure. Yeah. I guess breaking it down kind of like makes it less daunting and you can tick off
exactly,
bit by bit rather than looking at it as a whole article.
And bullet pointing is a big help as well with that, because then you break it down into even smaller chunks. So rather than thinking, I've got 2,000 words to write, I can just think, I've got 200 words I need to write, and then within that, about 50 words per bullet point.
So overall, you have a variety of clients. Do you have to take a different approach when writing for different niches, depending on who you're writing for?
Yeah, so some clients like us to sell their particular product, whereas others kind of would like us to guide the reader rather than explicitly tell them that they should use this certain product or whatever. So it can vary. Sometimes it's kind of more kind of passive, whereas sometimes more kind of like instructing the reader about what they should do.
How do you approach a topic you don't know much about versus one that maybe you have a bit more experience in?
So that one's actually quite interesting, because sometimes if you don't know much about a topic, you'll go back to the bare basics and you'll actually look at the whole subject rather than just thinking, oh, I know lots about something, and then skipping ahead, because at the end of the day, you've got to kind of pretend that the reader may not know anything about the topic. Yeah. So say for me, it might be insurance or finances. I don't really know much about that, but it can be quite interesting to kind of look at a variety of different websites and see what all their takes are on the topic, rather than just going based on my own personal experience of a topic I'm more familiar with.
So when you've started on one of these new topics and you've gone to like the bare basics, have you been surprised about how maybe easy some of them have been when you maybe thought they would be difficult in the first place?
I think one of the easier ones to write about is probably income tax, because a lot of the time we're using the government website as a good source, and because obviously they understand it's a difficult topic at times, they write everything out quite in basic terms. So It's easy for me to understand and it's easy for the everyday person to understand, whereas you might find some marketing websites might be more complex because they're expecting people to have a base knowledge, which I personally don't have, and obviously the reader may not have. So
absolutely. So the data is already in a kind of readable state when it's on, was it the government website you said?
Yes, yeah.
And then that makes it easy to transfer into an article.
Exactly, and the government website is quite good at linking within to other pages.
Yeah.
So say a particular term comes up that you may not know, you can click on the link and it'll take you to another page.
Sure.
Whereas another website may not have that, and you've got to then try and do the back work and the research yourself.
And then at least also government is going to be a reliable source.
Exactly, that's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're obviously not meant to trust everything that's on the internet. We're trying to create a reliable source of information ourselves. So you've got to try and compare a lot of information, whereas the government website, it's going to be factually correct.
Are some topics more difficult to rank on Google than others?
Yes, the more popular subjects are, because you've obviously got so many other websites all talking about the same thing, whereas more niche topics are easier to rank highly with because there's not so much information on the website. So say someone types in a particular niche question, if we've covered that exactly, then hopefully our article will rank quite highly. Whereas if we've got, say, the government websites we need to kind of compete with, it can be a lot harder to kind of get up there high on Google.
How would you approach an article topic that you think may be a bit more challenging? How do you motivate, how do you inspire, and where do you start?
Sometimes it's quite good to rely on my other teammates. I might message someone and say, have you done this client, or have you done a similar article? And sometimes they can kind of give me a different perspective on the topic. A lot of the time it's just good to kind of look at a variety of websites and get inspiration from how other people have written it and approach the topic. But yeah, basically it's just trying to get a rounded view of the subject area and trying to learn it myself so I can inform the reader.
Well, thank you, Eleanor, for your insights this episode, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you in the next episode of the Link Building Show.